What is up, fellow fans of football? The Premier League is back this weekend, and one of its standout fixtures is definitely the match taking place on the 13th of January. That would be this Saturday at St. James's Park between Newcastle United and Manchester City. Now, these two sides last locked horns on the 27th of September in the Carabao or EFL Cup, with Newcastle getting the slightest of edges over Manchester City when in the 53rd minute Alexander Isak opened the scoring with the game's sole goal after Joe Linton just sort of strolled into City's box and managed to cut the ball back to Isak, who was at the far post, completely unmarked. Now, obviously that result meant that City were knocked out of the cup, but I think a lot of City fans would actually prefer that, because it meant they could dedicate more time and energy to the Premier League, the Champions League, and the FA Cup instead. We start off our team analysis for this match with Newcastle. The last 5 fixtures for the Magpies have ended in 1 win and 4 losses. But thankfully their last match was that win. It was a 3-0 win away at Sunderland in the FA Cup. A match that Newcastle really needed to win, not just because it was a local derby, but also because they really needed to get their season back on track. A player who has been largely responsible for Newcastle's resurgence this season has been Alexander Isak. With 13 goals, he's leading the way for them in terms of goals, and he has scored in the last 3 matches for Newcastle. Next up, I want to talk Kieran Trippier with his 8 assists. Trippier is very good out wide in terms of his creativity, his crossing, and his eye for a pass, but he is prone to moments of madness now and again. But I think it does not outweigh just what a positive he is for Newcastle going forward. And finally, I want to talk a little bit about Martin Dubravka. Now, he's been recalled from his loan at Manchester United simply because Nick Pope was injured. But in 11 appearances, he's conceded 18 goals already and only kept 4 clean sheets, while Nick Pope in 20 appearances kept double the amount of clean sheets with 8 and conceded more or less the same amount of goals in 19. So that might be a weakness that Manchester City will be looking to exploit early and often in this match. Next up, we move on to Manchester City. The last 5 fixtures for the Citizens have ended in 5 wins. Their last match being a 5-0 victory at home against Huddersfield, also in the FA Cup. City seem to enjoy this number 5. But a player I think we can highlight for Manchester City firstly is Julian Alvarez, with 13 goals and 9 assists. Alvarez has proven to be equally as efficient in terms of creating opportunities as he is in putting them away, and he really stepped into that creative playmaker role after Kevin De Bruyne's injury. But I think things will return more or less to the status quo at Manchester City, and I think he'll have a different role to play, probably more out wide or more in that number 10 role while De Bruyne shifts deeper. Next up, I want to talk Erling Haaland with 19 goals and 5 assists. Haaland is actually the joint top scorer in the Premier League with 14 goals, but he's got a bit of an opportunity now to pull away from his competitor in Mohamed Salah, who is away at the AFCON right now. Haaland is strong, he's physical, he can do a lot for you, but he's gotten a bit of a dry spell right now. But his partner in crime is back, the player who provided so many assists for so many of Haaland's goals last season. And the third player on our list, Kevin De Bruyne. Now, he's only got 2 assists this season, but we have to remember it's because he's been out for most of the season because of hamstring surgery. And I think they expected De Bruyne to only be back in February, and he's back early. So that's a massive positive for City, and it's something that should be setting alarm bells ringing in the rest of the Premier League. Okay, we move on to the head-to-head in the S3M2 Verdict. The last 5 matches between these two sides have ended in 1 win for Newcastle, 3 wins for Manchester City, and 1 draw. There seems to be a major home ground advantage in this fixture, with just 1 fixture at St. James's Park ending in a draw, and the rest of the sides, or the rest of the fixtures ending in the home side winning. The returns of Kevin De Bruyne and Alexander Isak have proven to be so pivotal in both of these team seasons already. De Bruyne will just be reloading for the forward players in Manchester City. We're talking guys like Bernardo Silva, Julian Alvarez, Erling Haaland and Doku, while Isak will be getting the finishing product for his team. I think right now in terms of form, Alexander Isak and Julian Alvarez are just a little above the rest. Alvarez scoring in multiple matches in those last 5 fixtures for City, while Isak has scored in the last 3 outings for Newcastle. I think right now Newcastle's inconsistency has proven to be their downfall. In terms of their home form, they're one of the best in the league, but it's away where they seem to struggle. They're very lucky that this fixture is being played at St. James's Park. But I think their inconsistency and just their form coming into this match is gonna count against them right now. City are flying high. In those last 5 fixtures, one of the matches they had to play was the FIFA Club World Cup final, which they managed to win. So another trophy that Guardiola and his side can add to an ever-growing trophy cabinet. I do think City have just a little bit too much here, so I'm gonna side with City. But I also think Martin Dubravka's form is not very good for Newcastle. So Newcastle have been very leaky at the back. And I think that's gonna come back to bite them in this one. City obviously being a team that has so much potential to score and create from all sorts of areas in the pitch, I think they will be winning this one. But I think both sides will definitely score here. So I'm gonna go with 3-2, maybe 3-1, maybe even 2-1. But I just do think that Manchester City have a bit too much creativity and a little bit too much skill and technique on paper. I think they will be controlling the game and dictating play as they do, but they're equally efficient in terms of counter-attacking, where Newcastle will just look to win the ball and transition as quickly as possible. So it all comes down to how that midfield is handled. But I do think that Manchester City just have a little bit too much quality in there for Newcastle right now. Hi, thank you for making it to the end of this video. We really appreciate the watch time and the fact that you took some time out of your day to spend it with us talking about the sport that we all love. If you enjoyed the content, why not, drop a like down below or comment in the comment section. Maybe even consider subscribing to the channel. And I mean, while you are here right now, have a look at some of our old videos too. They should be appearing on the screen right now, along with that subscribe button. So you know exactly what to do. Thank you so much. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm. And have a great day out there. And we hope to see you again very, very soon. Thanks. Stay safe.